Welcome to our U.S. Briefing Show. Today, we're diving into some exciting international news. First up, China's making big moves on the world stage. With over 70% of people seeing China as the most influential country, it's pushing ahead with economic strength, AI, military upgrades, and even a new digital Yuan operations center to boost its global reach. They're balancing respect for the U.S. while forging strategic partnerships, especially with Russia, and aiming to be a leader in peacekeeping and tech innovation. It's a fascinating mix of cooperation and competition. Next, things are heating up in the Middle East. Tensions between Israel and Iran are escalating, with Israel demanding Iran dismantle its missile programs and even talking about regime change. Iran's firing back with missile strikes, and the conflict could draw in the US and neighboring countries, making regional stability a real concern. European leaders are warning against military escalation, but the situation remains very volatile, and US decisions could tip the scales either way. Finally, in Asia, Japan and South Korea are taking a big step toward better relations. Their first in-person summit in years focused on regional security, North Korea, and strengthening ties despite historical tensions. Both leaders want more cooperation, more exchanges, and a stronger partnership, especially with the US. It's a hopeful sign for diplomacy in the region as they celebrate 60 years of normalized relations. Please continue to stay tuned for more detailed updates. From the South China Morning Post, the Chinese Citizens Global Perception Survey reveals a nation increasingly confident in its global influence, with 71% of Chinese citizens viewing their country as the most influential actor on the world stage. This perception is driven by China's impressive economic growth, technological innovations like artificial intelligence, and military modernization. While still respecting the importance of Washington, Chinese citizens now see their country's dominance growing, especially in their trust in Russia as a key ally, and a cautious yet strategic engagement with Europe. The survey highlights a desire for China to expand its role in global peacekeeping and security, yet also underscores the risks of military assertiveness, particularly in the South China Sea, which could threaten broader geopolitical stability. Public enthusiasm for technological leadership in green energy and manufacturing is high, but skepticism towards Western powers remains, emphasizing a delicate balance between competition and cooperation that the Chinese government must carefully manage through cultural diplomacy and digital outreach. Meanwhile, the South China Morning Post reports on the mounting fears of a broader Middle East conflict, as the U.S. faces critical decisions under President Trump's leadership regarding Iran and Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's aggressive demands for Iran's disarmament and regime change, including provocative suggestions like assassinating Iran's supreme leader, signal a dangerous escalation. However, experts emphasize that Israel's military capabilities alone are insufficient to topple Iran's government without U.S. support, which remains uncertain amidst Trump's dismissive attitude towards intelligence reports and past war miscalculations. Iran, meanwhile, has responded with missile strikes and drone attacks, preparing for a prolonged conflict that threatens regional stability. Arab nations, wary of Iran's regional influence and Israel's growing dominance, are deeply concerned about the potential for a wider war that could devastate their economies and security, especially given Iran's sophisticated underground missile tunnels and the risk of U.S. involvement. The possibility of escalation looms large, with fears that this conflict could spiral into a full-scale regional or even global confrontation, threatening to undo years of diplomatic efforts. In Japan and South Korea, leaders have taken a historic step toward rebuilding their strained relationship, as reported by Nikkei Asia. During their first in-person meeting at the G7 summit in Canada, Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and President Lee Jae-myung expressed a shared commitment to strengthening bilateral ties and regional security cooperation. Despite a history marred by colonial disputes and wartime grievances, both leaders acknowledged the importance of working together to address pressing challenges such as North Korea's missile and nuclear programs and past abductions. They emphasized the significance of maintaining a strong alliance with the United States and pledged to increase high-level visits and exchanges, marking a hopeful turning point in their diplomatic relations. As the 60th anniversary of diplomatic normalization approaches, Japan and South Korea are eager to foster more robust economic and cultural ties, recognizing that their cooperation is vital for regional stability and prosperity amid an increasingly complex security environment. The Associated Press vividly reports the harrowing details of Mohammed Sabri Solomon, an Egyptian national living illegally in the United States, who is accused of a violent hate crime in Boulder. Driven by a vehement anti-Zionist sentiment, Solomon allegedly planned for a year to attack demonstrators raising awareness of Israeli hostages, with the intent to kill them all. On June 1, he threw Molotov cocktails at the gathering, shouting, "Free Palestine," yet only threw 2 of the 18 he had prepared, reportedly because he was frightened and inexperienced in hurting others. His plan was thwarted as he did not carry out his full assault, citing fear, and he admitted to investigators that he wanted to purchase a firearm but couldn't due to his lack of legal citizenship. Both federal and state courts are involved, with public defenders remaining silent on the case, highlighting the complex legal and immigration issues intertwined with this act of violence. The Associated Press further paints a tense picture of escalating conflict in Iran, with Israeli airstrikes unleashing devastating consequences. Early Wednesday, Iran's capital experienced a series of intense bombings, resulting in the deaths of at least 585 civilians and security personnel, according to the human rights organization Human Rights Activists. The conflict, which has seen Iran retaliate with over 400 missiles and drones, has plunged Tehran into chaos, with residents fleeing their homes amid the destruction and widespread fear. The Israeli strikes aim to cripple Iran's military and nuclear ambitions, claiming to target key military figures like General Ali Shadmani, the recently appointed head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Central Command. Meanwhile, Iran vows more retaliation, promising that Israel will soon face further attacks, as the region remains on edge with explosions and sirens echoing through Tehran and southern Israel, underscoring the fragile and volatile state of the Middle East. The South China Morning Post details China's strategic efforts to expand the international influence of the yuan amidst rising global tensions. At the Lijiazui Forum in Shanghai, the People's Bank of China announced the creation of an International Operations Center dedicated to the digital yuan, aiming to enhance its global reach and challenge the dominance of the US dollar. This move is part of broader financial reforms, including pilot programs for innovative monetary tools like blockchain-based trade finance, green finance, and credit lending schemes designed to support foreign trade enterprises. China also plans to establish a trade reporting repository to analyze high-frequency transaction data across various markets, fostering transparency and oversight. Additionally, a new personal credit reporting agency will diversify credit products and strengthen China's social credit infrastructure, reflecting Beijing's ambitions to position Shanghai as a burgeoning global financial hub and to bolster the yuan's international stature amid ongoing US-China tensions over trade and technology. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports on the dramatic incident involving New York City mayoral candidate Brad Lander, who was detained and handcuffed by ICE agents while attempting to assist an immigrant leaving immigration court. Video footage captures Lander linking arms with a man and demanding to see a judicial warrant before being wrestled away and arrested for allegedly obstructing law enforcement. Despite denying any assault or obstruction, Lander's actions sparked outrage among local Democrats and the governor, who condemned the arrest as an attack on an elected official advocating for immigrant rights. The incident underscores ongoing tensions between Democratic politicians and ICE under the Trump administration's aggressive immigration enforcement policies, with investigations into Lander's conduct ongoing and previous similar arrests of other Democrats highlighting a broader political clash over immigration enforcement tactics. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation also details Donald Trump's provocative posts amid escalating tensions in the Israel-Iran conflict, where he claimed total and complete control over the skies of Iran, stirring controversy among his supporters. Trump's comments reveal a complex and divided MAGA movement, with figures like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon urging restraint and warning against U.S. involvement in Middle Eastern conflicts, emphasizing the MAGA core principle of ending forever wars. Conversely, other supporters, including Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer, advocate for a hardline stance, urging loyalty and warning of betrayal within their ranks. Trump's fluctuating rhetoric, from military threats to diplomatic gestures, reflects the internal discord and the high stakes of foreign policy decisions that could define his legacy, risking a potential MAGA meltdown if he abandons his promise to prioritize American interests and avoid unnecessary conflicts. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 brief via email.
Scrolling through the headlines, another crazy day. 6 degrees of stories, connecting in their way. From the weather to the sports, and everything we see. People making news on TV screens for free. 6 degree world, where the news comes in a whirl. Every story ties together like a ribbon in a twirl. Sit back and watch it all, big and small they call. From city lights to countryside, we're connected after all. A laugh, a cry, a sigh, news is flying high. From city lights to countryside, we're connected after all. A laugh, a cry, a sigh.